Hello and welcome to Hedgewitch Herbarium. I'm Kelly Proudfoot and I'm doing a tarot reading for myself today. It is April the 9th. We've just come through Mercury retrograde and I'm really feeling the energies, so I wanted to do a reading for myself. I am going to eventually do readings for others, but at the moment, ever since January, I've been going through a lot of trauma processing and healing, and I'm going to do a 3-card spread to start with using the Rider Waite deck. It's my favourite deck. It just seems to be more just common sense, just the facts, ma'am, even though there's a lot of symbolism in there. But what I usually do, I always make sure that my feet are uncrossed. I don't know why, but ever since I started doing tarot in my 20s, and I'm a crone, I am 58 at the moment, I just felt that the energies were not coming from the earth or whatever. If your legs are crossed, it's all internal. But then I overthink things and wondered if, well, maybe it's a good idea to have your ankles crossed or your legs crossed so that you can just focus on the energies within. But just over the years, it's always for me been making sure that my legs aren't crossed. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about my intentions, and I just wanted to see I want to do a 3-card spread, and I want to see what's going on, where I'm heading, how things are going. I've got 2 YouTube channels at the moment, so what I usually do is fan the cards out roughly, just so whichever cards I'm supposed to get will speak to me, and then I don't even look. I just let my fingers do the walking. That's the first card. There's the second card, and that's the one I want. For some reason, when I look at the cards, my eyes, of course, are always roaming, so it's like, what about that one? What about that one? So that's why I don't look at them usually. So where I was in the past is the 7 of Swords, and I do feel like that lately, that it's almost like, oh, I got away with that one. The 7 of Swords, of course, swords is in the realm of action, and the element air, I've always felt funny about that. I've always thought, well, swords are forged in fire. It should be fire energy, and branches wave in the breeze, so that's air. But I know that traditionally swords are air. But when I saw the 7 of Swords, it is like, yes, I'm leaving some things behind, and I feel like in my life that's been something that it's not so much water under the bridge sort of thing and leaving things behind, but sometimes I've had to get out of situations, especially when I was younger, with my mother, who's a narcissistic alcoholic, or was before she passed away. I do feel like this card, for me, the symbolism and what it's telling me is that you're okay, you made it away with most of what you have, and I do feel like that, especially with the trauma. One message I got when I was at the Penwell Ridge Retreat Centre in January was, don't look over your shoulder, just look forward. And it's funny because that's what he's doing, looking over his shoulder. But to me, that's always a lucky card, even though some people think 7, the number 7 is an unlucky number. Where I am now, or the present time, is governed by the King of Swords, and that's so interesting to me because this week especially, I'm going through a real power surge. I've really stepped into my power now that I've shrugged off the cloudiness of the last few weeks. I've really felt like I'm stepping into my own, got the boundaries around me, not allowing others to manipulate me, which can happen for any of us, but For me specifically, I've often had people around me who know that I'm a go-getter and that I'll just face things. I'm a truth teller, so people tend to dump things on my doorstep expecting me to spearhead everything. So lately I have been pretty much wielding the sword and being the ruler of my own kingdom, and it's interesting that this week, the week after Mercury retrograde ended, that the energies have really stepped up for me, but at the same time I'm maintaining that equilibrium where I'm controlling my emotional outbursts. I'm stopping to pause and think before I speak. Earlier this week there was a couple of situations where I was able to navigate my turbulent emotions over other people's let's just say disregard for my mental state, just wanting to forge ahead like everything's fine, and I'm not going to go into details, but this card really speaks to me about where I am now. And the symbolism, for example, of the clouds in the background, it's like those turbulent times are behind me. Now I must say, and we all understand this, that life is full of ups and downs. You can't always move away from everything forever. Sorry, my words are stumbling. But this really speaks to me. I do feel like I'm taking charge of my life, but I also think that to a degree it represents my husband, who's a really strong stoic person. He's very stoic, just like me, and I do have his support, and I'm really grateful for that. But to me, this card really is telling me exactly where I am at the moment. But like all of us, I want to know where I'm going. Now I know where I'm going, where I want to go, but we'll see what the outcome is. Oh, I don't like this card. And this comes up for me so often. I often think of it as a war of words, but it is standing your ground. And I do know with certain energies I'm dealing with having to, it's like swatting flies, you know, when you've got manipulative people, people who like to dry beg, who like to gaslight and try to shame or guilt you into doing things. That's what I feel this represents. Another 7 too. There is a lot of subconscious things going on in my mind, like everybody, I suppose. It sounds a bit silly, that sentence, but I've been doing a lot of deep soul searching, especially in the last few months, and coming out, especially coupled with the King of Swords, I feel like, yes, I've got my power, and at the moment I'm holding the line, but this is probably telling me that in the future I will be really even having to put my skills to the test and test my mettle and all that. With wands too, when you see the little growth at the end of the staffs or the wands there, it shows that there is the opportunity of growth afterwards, learning and moving on. But I do always get a twinge when I see this card, just like I do with the Tower. As a matter of fact, the Tower can actually sometimes be a little bit more positive. So what I'm going to do, I want some clarification. I'm pretty much fine with where I was, where I am now, but I want some more clarification on the 7 of Wands. War of words, I mean, I know it's coming. I'm trying to leave my job and trying to get a remote job so I don't have to worry about dealing with so many people, at least face to face. But also getting out of the social services industry. It's getting worse and worse out there. People are so entitled, and there's so many overblown expectations, not only from the customers or clients, but also from management, and unrealistic expectations. And we discovered the other day we've got 34 trackers that we have to use, spreadsheets, you know, and it's getting ridiculous. But I'm waffling here. I want clarification on the 7 of Wands. Tell me more about it. I'm just going to split, and when I split the card, let me Oh, I'll show another time, but I split with my left hand. Some people say do it with your right hand. Lovely. So this is the clarification that, wrong card. This is the clarification I asked for the Seven of Wands, and of course that's, to me, a war of words, but standing your ground. The High Priestess gives that a really positive vibe because it shows that I will be victorious, or at least I will be in charge of myself and in control of my reaction and the way things will go. So the High Priestess, I've always had an affinity, and it's not because I think, oh my God, I'm a goddess or whatever, but what I love about this, it means being in control, being able to balance those energies, the dark and light energies, and I've really been doing that lately, working on the darkness within me and transmuting it, bringing that understanding up to the light. And it's, to me, it's like a cycle, like the figure eight, like the infinity symbol, and life goes on, it ebbs and flows. You can't expect everything to be perfect, but I think in this situation I'm really happy about this, because in the end it is all going to come down to me. So that's really positive. What I want to do as well, now that I've done that, is use the other deck that I like to use, which is called the Deviant Moon Tarot. I find this, for me personally, I find it's a good deck to use when you're wanting to really get down into the deep, dark and dirty of the matter. You know, when you're going through a lot of dark thoughts or you're dealing with the subconscious. I'm just going to take the booklet out because I'm not 100% used to this deck. It is by Patrick Valenza, and oops, that's too close. He has created this beautiful artwork. Took him years and years, I think it was more than 10 years, to create this deck, and a lot of really deep psychological meanings. Some people don't like this deck because they say it's too dark or whatever, but then again, life, us humans, we have those light and dark energies. So for some reason I'm compelled to keep my, or to cross my legs, which they are now. It's weird with this energy, with these cards. I wonder if going within, having my legs crossed, means that the energies are only cycling up from within me and not drawing from the earth or the ether, whatever you'd want to say. So I'm going to do, oh, okay, I just flipped everything out. I got the Two of Swords. And that's interesting that this card jumped out, because I have been feeling lately, I've been trying to decide between the two YouTube channels I have. Hedgewitch Herbarium, of course, I'm just revamping it now, but I have been exploring the trauma and stuff I've been through as a child with the CPTSD and all that stuff, and wondering which channel should I focus on. At the moment I'm focusing on both, but I really want to build up this channel. It's really hard to find your tribe and people who are into what you're doing, and I know I'm different, but we all are. But this card's interesting to me because it comes up a lot in the online tarot readings that I've been watching for Virgo. I'm a Virgo, so that tells me a lot. And another one that popped out was the Emperor, and that's another one that's been coming a lot. I do feel like I am taking charge, but also, see the imagery on this card. Let me read this for you, because he uses really dark imagery. You can see in there, there's let me look at it. It's looks like a little demon piglet, but anyway, that's probably bad focus. But I'm going to look it up, the Emperor, what they say, because it's not so much that he's twisted the meanings, but he's going deeper and darker, And for me, you know, talking about or looking at my trauma and stuff, let's see what it says. Dominating all that is around him, the Emperor sits with confidence. Although pleased with his achievements, he looks towards other areas of conquest. And that's interesting because I have been feeling like, well, what else can I do? What else can I do? But that has been my problem my whole life, being so interested in so many things, different fingers and different pies. I end up spreading myself too thin, so I'm trying to draw it all back in, getting back into the herbalism and the craft as a hedge witch. But let's see what else it says. Strong male figure, leadership, accomplishment, ambition. That is true. That's what I'm feeling at the moment. I'm actually applying for a lot of remote jobs, especially content creation, character development for video games, freelance writing, that sort of thing. I think like a lot of people, especially if you're an introvert and a highly sensitive person like me, as well as an INFJ, it's just getting too ridiculous out there. I mean, mind you, it's always been ridiculous, but in this reading, I want to see specifically about my mental health. What's going on? How am I healing? I feel like I am healing well, and it's funny when you do a tarot reading when you feel like you already know the answers. I still want to see the confirmation. So I'm not looking. I'm starting to choose the cards. Again, I'm doing a 3 card. Sometimes I do a you know, a full Celtic cross. Other times I just pull 1 card. It just depends. So these ones I'm pulling to ask about my subconscious, my trauma processing, how it's going. What's this? The first card I've got is the 5 of Swords. And I like his little bottom there. Look at his little bot. But he's sticking his tongue out, looking over his shoulder, right? And, you know, see down below he's standing over crossed swords, usually in paganism. I don't know if the symbolism is elsewhere as well. But it's like a crossroads. Again, it's like, you know what, I'm out of here. And that in terms of my trauma, I feel like that's the case. But I will read his meanings in a second. The second card is, what's that? The 2 of Cups. So interesting. Some people say that the 2 of Cups is even more about love and romance than the Lovers. But I also think it's about partnership. It's about exchanging energies. Whether that's an equal exchange, I'm not sure. But that's his version of the 2 of Cups. And in the outcome, we've got the 9 of Pentacles. Oh my God, that's one of my favourites to get. And it's interesting when you see his idea of it. Again, people say, oh, it's too dark, whatever. And but what I love about it is it's showing that no matter what you've been through, how scarred or whatever you've been throughout the process, that things will work out all right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, I should have had them that way, I'm sorry. Who am I saying sorry to? Whoever's out there listening, thank you for listening and staying with me so far. So the first card we got, of course, was the 5 of Swords. So let us see what he says, what Patrick Valenza says about the 5 of Swords. A foreign soldier, let me hold it up. Oops, sorry. A foreign soldier has entered the city. He shows no respect to the king and dishonours him with his tactics. It is impossible to win against such a foe, so it is best not to fight for now. Gloating over his victory, the soldier collects the 5 swords surrendered to him. So this is about a cheat, dishonourable victory, unfair tactics, a cruel person who enjoys the suffering of others, a braggart, which is like someone who brags. And what I find interesting about that, because that was in the past for me, is the certain personalities, especially one particular that I'm dealing with. So I wonder if that's to do with them. But I also feel that this also, just by the look of the card, I always, when I see this one, I always feel like it's me being a little shit, because sometimes I can be. I don't mind being the turd in the punch bowl if it means telling the truth and exposing lies. So I wonder if that's also about me. But me in the present is the Two of Cups, so let's read his version of the Two of Cups, what he says. So I'll hold it up while I read it. Oh my God, this lighting, I've got two big lights on and it's still... Anyway, he says, midnight has been tempted by death and a pact has been made between the two lovers. Raising two cups, they toast the bond of their union. And just before I go on, I do feel like this with my husband and I. We have a really strong relationship, and no matter what happens, we always return to centre. So I wonder if that's what this is. It does say love, harmonious partnership, coming together. So I do feel that with my husband, as well as other people in my family, there's reconnection and things going on. So now I'm going to read the Nine of Pentacles as the outcome. And I like his rendition of that. I have a real gothic vein in me, so I have no issue with darkness. And when I say darkness, I don't mean, oh, I love evil things or hellish things or what have you. But I understand the darkness. It's very much a part of us where we have duality. You can't have one without the other. It's just like chaos and order. But anyway, his definition, or his meaning for the Nine of Pentacles. An affluent woman strolls through the city streets accompanied by her small pet. 9 pentacles glide down from the sky, encircling her in a display of material wealth. Oh yes, please, please, just so I can create and write and all that jazz. But anyway, the upright meanings, and I pulled it up right. Material good fortune, a wealthy and independent female, a pet lover. Well, I'm not wealthy. I am independent within my relationship with my husband. We're both separate people. A pet lover for sure. We're always saving animals, whether it's cats or whatever. Now, I was thinking in terms of my mental health. So I do feel like, yes, I know I've had to deal with people, and not just certain people now, but in my past with my mother. I have gone through some forgiveness, which I'm going to share a video on. But I do feel like, yes, I do feel like it with my relationship at least, and maybe even my relationship with myself. It's interesting how the self-care and understanding and unearthing and processing, analysing and then moving forward has helped me develop a lot of not only compassion for myself, but then it flows on to others. And then the Knight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, I love that card. Whenever that comes out, I always feel like things are going to work out fine. My intentions are to be doing well with my writing and my content creation, to be able to not have to work for someone else. But the work I am looking for now, of course, is remote in that sort of field. I'm going to close off with another deck. I'm just going to pull a one card and just see. I like to do a reading to ask the universe, you tell me. Oftentimes when we do tarot readings, we tend to project all the time, and sometimes I think we have to be quiet, use our intuition, and see what the universe has. I'm just going to show this to you. This is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, which is really sweet. And it's a nice energy, I think, to finish off a reading with. So I just want to make sure I don't have any of the wild cards or whatever in. I don't think so. And I have to use the book because they kind of use different terminology, and until I get used to using certain decks, I will continue using the book. How I taught myself the tarot was with the Rider Waite, because I'm a typical Virgo. I research everything before I delve into learning, and I learned that that was probably the best one and to at least learn on. And I had a book called Tarot Made Easy by Nancy Guerin. That was a good book, but I also read countless other books, did a tarot workbook to teach myself. But oftentimes I think, and if you're the kind of person who doesn't believe or trust your skills or whatever, just know sometimes it's just a matter of pulling a card out, looking at it and saying, what does that mean to me? What do the symbols mean to me? Because honestly, if you want to get real, you could do a reading from the back of a cornflakes packet if you knew how to interpret the symbols and the words. I think there's meaning everywhere. This is something that's happening to me as I'm opening up, especially this week's feeling like, yes, I'm in power, I'm in control, but I'm also doing it through compassion. It's not usually like me, just trust me. But anyway, I'm going to finish off with just a one card reading here from the Forest, or the Enchanted Forest, Forest of Enchantment Tarot. And this time I'm going to pull with I'm just going to split with the right hand. So what the universe wants to tell me, yeesh, suspension. I wonder if that's similar to the light. I wonder if that's similar to the Hanged Man in the tarot. Let's see what they say. Suspension. And it's really weird how this is the book, which is lovely. But it's really weird how they've set it out. So if you could just be a little patient with me. I know I waffle on a lot. That's 11. Is it? 10, 11, no, 12. Which is interesting, because I've been seeing 11, 11 a lot lately. So this is 12. I'm sorry about this. Flick, flick, flick. 10, 11. Alright. So maybe the book will be better for you to see the picture. But what I'll do is I'll read from this, and I do apologise if you don't like being read to, but you can always skip through this. Suspension. In an ancient pine in a remote part of the forest, a sorcerer hangs suspended in amber. Though his body is caught in stasis, he is alive, and his consciousness roams freely through many worlds. In his prescience, the sorcerer foresaw that deeper wisdom would be needed if he was to help the world in hard times to come. The normal passage of time was too swift for him to learn all he wished to learn, so he created a pocket of timelessness in the heart of the pine and stepped into it of his own volition. As the enchanted sap flowed warmly around his mortal form, the sorcerer felt himself rotating, released from gravity's grip. When the amber had solidified, the sorcerer was head downward like an infant in the womb. In the proper time, he will release himself from this chamber of deepening and emerge reborn. Suspension signifies a time of surrender to a higher purpose. There are times for action, and there are times when it is best to stay still and deepen in wisdom. Your soul is ready for its next stage of growth. This may involve a sacrifice of worldly ambitions or well-laid plans. I don't want to sacrifice much more. Geez. So the meaning at a glance says, I'm sorry with that right up in the camera. Geez. The meaning at a glance is initiation, a new point of view, surrender. Mystical messages, a retreat from daily life, heeding an inner call. And that's what I have been doing, especially the last couple of months with my channels and content creation, whether it be the numerology stuff or tarot or talking about healing past trauma. But again, it goes on a closer look for this card is the dragonfly is a symbol of change and self-realization. The presence of a dragonfly in the sorcerer's amber cocoon is an affirmation that he is on the right track in his pursuit of wisdom. So if you were to count, that number would be 3. And the interesting thing is, interesting, I say it's interesting, my mum's number was 3. And that's been a number that's been popping up lately, and some of the readings online have been saying that there's someone from the other side. And as much as my mother, I had a time growing up with my mother being an alcoholic as well as a narcissist, but I also see her as a human being. One thing we have to remember, that doesn't mean you condone what they did. But when you can't forgive, and that's a hard lesson I just learned. But anyway, I hope you liked. I didn't even finish that sentence. If you can't forgive, then you won't be healed. I haven't been. I wasn't properly healed until I forgave. But everybody's different. Some people might not deserve it, but maybe you do. But anyway, I hope this was interesting to you. And take care, and I'll talk to you soon.